Hello everybody and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Serge.
And my name is James.
Game week 13, 14's over, one or the other.
Yeah. You beat me.
I beat you for a change.
For the first time since game week 2. Not only did you beat me, you hammered me.
Yeah, I had a pretty decent game week this week. Yourself? So.
Obviously not as good.
Well, what did you score? 44 odd?
41.
Anything less than 50 below the average, there was a real quick drop off into the 4, 5, 6 million game week ranks, which means I think it was quite tightly bunched below the average of 51. And then there was sort of a few people with some good 70s and 80s. I ended up with 58, and I'm now 871,000, top million by some distance, and hopefully we keep moving on. That's 5 green arrows in a row.
Who were your good ones this week?
Who were my good ones? Well, on the Saturday, I had 3 10-pointers. Trent, De Bruyne and Heung-min Son. No other returns anywhere else. Robertson was a blank. Pulisic was a blank. Chris Wood was a blank. And Edison was a blank. A 1-pointer, in fact, to be honest. On the Sunday, I had captain Jamie Vardy with a single goal return. And Jimenez with his assist. But again, on the Sunday, I had a blank from Maddison and a blank from Lundstrom. So Trent, KDB, Son, Jimenez and Vardy got me to 58 points.
Yeah, 41 for me. Not great. I'll take it, though, because actually it could have been a lot worse for me. I didn't captain Vardy. I captained Mane. So that Iheanacho goal and nicking some bonus off Vardy, I mean, we'll talk about it a bit in a sec. But actually owning Vardy and not captaining him, I mean, that's a wider discussion at the moment.
Yeah.
I just don't think any of us can not captain him on Wednesday at the moment, the way it would stand, or obviously the Tuesday deadline. Same as yourself, 10's Alexander-Arnold and De Bruyne. A nice own goal from Tom Heaton, which I think was very debatable because I think the spin on the ball from Marcus Rashford's header might have been going in any case. And I had nothing else. It could have been very different for me. We obviously did the People's Poll Friday, was kind of set on Zaha. Abraham was obviously then ruled out. I had 2.2 million in the bank. I was like, shit, I can get straight to Jesus in one move. So I'm not going to regret it now. We'll know if that was right or wrong once, I think, not even this game week, but after the next one, after the Manchester United fixture, because I got him in for the 3 games. And I think it was a move that was okay for me because I've still got the wild card.
Yeah, three weeks, you got to judge him over that. I mean, if he blanks in the next couple, then yeah, obviously it's not a great move. But other than that, you can just take it. My 2 moves were Jimenez and Pulisic. Jimenez came up with the assist, so that was a good move for Callum Wilson, who blanked against you lot. Also, Jimenez, I've had 2 price rises in like 4 days or something. Mental. I bought him at 7.5. He's already 7.7.
Well, there obviously was so many. He's at the same value as Abraham, basically, and he's slightly cheaper.
Yeah.
So anybody with no money knocking about in the bank, it was the obvious move. You could argue for myself, I could have gone Jesus to Jimenez and then taken a -4 and gone straight to Zaha at the same time. Obviously, would have been a great hit if I'd made that move. I just decided I wanted to go a different way, mainly because I thought Sheffield United would win at Wolves. It's the number one reason. And I think the way that game panned out, I wasn't particularly wrong in that assessment either. I dropped 100k overall this week, but not a disaster because after we recorded Monday night, I did lock that Tom Heaton clean sheet on the Monday night, which jumped me another 40k. So it meant I had a 100k rise last week and a 100k fall this week. I'm at 305,000.
305.
I was at 307 2 game weeks ago.
Okay, fair play. I moved Mount to Pulisic. That was a lot of talk last week about what to do with Mount. In the end, both ended up playing. I'll take a blank from Pulisic against West Ham when we've beaten them 1-0. I'm happy to take that blank, but I'm fine owning Pulisic. He was busy, lively, in and around the box, taking shots. He's definitely a forward-thinking midfielder or winger who doesn't really track back as much. He's forward-minded, isn't he? So I really think I'll get some returns out of Pulisic in the coming weeks. Mount could just as easily return, but I'm cool with owning Pulisic. There's only one player in my squad that I'm unhappy with, which is still Andrei Yarmolenko. He's still sitting there. at 5.8 million, and I don't know where I'm going to go with him at the moment. I may actually just ride him out for another 4 weeks until the Liverpool blank, although he's not really going to help me because it's West Ham are blanking that week as well, and then make that move then. I'll see.
I know what I want to do next. I have already made a move for game week 15. Wilfried Zaha is in.
Yeah. You and a lot of people, yeah?
Oh, mate, this is I mean, the annoyance for me is because the listeners will know I've been saying it for ages, and I don't want to be that I told you so. And obviously over the next 6-7 game weeks, he might do jack all, right?
Yeah.
But the intention always was to go early for the Burnley fixture and jump a head start on everyone else in the hope that he returned in that fixture. 1 goal for an 11-point return. And because he's talisman for them and they're not going to score that many, that's possibly all he needs to be hitting that sort of return. So really disappointing. It's the way it goes. I had 2 choices. One was Zaha straight in for Mount, or a -4, which would have meant Mendy to Martin Kelly, also of Crystal Palace, with Charlie Taylor now possibly a doubt. Not that I wanted to thump him in for Man City at home tomorrow night. And then obviously I could have gone Dale Stevens or Todd Cantwell, who I'm now looking to keep.
Yeah.
Ironically, amazingly,
surprise.
having sat there and not been able to get rid of him for ages, I'll keep the bastard now.
Yeah.
And then Dale Stevens to Zaha. I have gone Mount to Zaha.
Yeah.
Mount hasn't scored since the fixture against Southampton, which I think was either game week 7 or 8. Only 1 assist since then. They obviously laboured a little bit against yourselves at the weekend, particularly in the second half. It was a suggestion on Pulisic, by the way, that if Abraham doesn't make it, that Pulisic might start up front. So I've just in a position where I had to get Zaha in. I couldn't, but I also couldn't feel like I couldn't justify taking the hit to do it, because I wouldn't have even started Kelly, even against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So I'm now going to be in a position where I'm probably starting 4-3-3 this week with Zaha and Jordan Ayew. And then I think I know my next moves. I'm probably going to still go ahead with Mendy to Kelly, either at the weekend or the weekends or after. I think Mendy probably won't play against Burnley tomorrow night, but I would expect him to play against United, who hold no fear for me from that against City at the weekend. And then probably off Jesus, and then it's either back to sort of Abraham and then up to sort of Zaha Pulisic level, or all the way down to Muse, and then Stevens up to sort of like Son or Ali.
So you got a little plan ahead of you.
And then I'm in, and I'm wildcarding.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I've got this great plan in place. I'm going to get to the exact team I want and then wildcard it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with my team now, especially the front line, Jimenez, Vardy and Chris Wood. Chris Wood was lively in the second half. He had a few chances. He's a big old unit, is Chris Wood, so he'll always cause some kind of trouble with Burnley. And you can tell if they've had a bad game, the game after they're going to do something, because Sean Dyche will get them up for it.
What, against Man City, yeah?
Well, we'll see.
I think he might have... had Dele Alli had the best XG at the weekend, actually. I think Chris Wood might have been second
or third,
possibly.
Fair play. I can't argue with Pulisic, Son, De Bruyne, Maddison in my midfield. All 4 of them are solid. Trent and Robbo, they're just swapping weeks of when they're going to have the best, most assists. Lundstrom is Lundstrom, isn't he, really? And Ederson in goal. So Rico and Kelly are still playing, and they give me cover for the Liverpool match in a few weeks' time, which is going to be here in just a couple of weeks now. The liver blank. Yeah,
just a note, there's obviously a few guys, I haven't got the statistics in front of me, but I guess I can do. John Lundstrom is one of those who's on 4 yellow cards.
Yep.
At the moment. I think we were all pretty desperate for him not to miss this Newcastle fixture. I guess we're also all pretty desperate for him not to miss game week 18, although it's one of the more difficult fixtures they've got coming up away to Brighton.
Few players blanking, won't we?
Well, it's the weekend with obviously Liverpool not playing that we really could do without missing people through suspension. So just a couple of other notables. Raheem Sterling is one. James Tarkowski, who obviously people have made some moves for. Aaron Wan-Bissaka's still got decent ownership. Also, Baldock at Sheffield United is also on 4 yellow cards. And Diego Rico as well will be knocking about as a budget option in a lot of teams. It'd be amazing if they all get that full booking in game week 17.
I've got Lundstrom and Rico out of the 2, so I could quite easily see myself in trouble there. But then I've only got 2 Liverpool assets, so should be all right.
Robertson and Trent, I mean, we've done it to death, but that's why I got both.
Yeah.
Because you just never, one of them will get you. You know, I'm looking at it again, and I mean, Liverpool have now contrived, I think, every possible way of being able to blow a late clean sheet. This just the latest farcical moment of conceding 1 goal. You can't believe that they're only on 2 clean sheets.
Mad.
We are now no longer going to say they're coming. We just get that. That's it.
They're done now.
They're going to win 2-1 at the weekend. But it's still 10 points for TAA and 2 for Robertson a weekend. Them 2 want to keep averaging me 6 points every week. I'll just take it all season long. So yeah, no drama. Still no thoughts to come off them.
No. Let's talk about some of these games. I didn't watch any football on Saturday until match of the day.
Before we do,
killed me.
And I know you're desperate to get into West Ham, probably.
No, we'll talk about them in a bit.
I've got a nice little bit of trivia.
Trivia time. James got a question, YouTube.
I thought I'd bring it back. So Jamie Vardy, and we'll do the answer at the end of the games. Jamie Vardy saw 64 points in the last 6 game weeks. Joker. The next highest player is, I think it's 20 points less.
44 points.
In the last 6 game weeks. Who is it?
44 points in the last 6 game weeks.
Yeah.
So that's an average of 8 point something points per game.
Yeah. Don't ruin it. We'll do the answer after the games.
We'll do the answer at the end.
Let's talk Man City.
Manchester City 2, Newcastle 2. Well, the other way around. Everybody on Tyneside must be believing in Bruce now, finally, surely.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to go through that with Newcastle. But yeah, they've had some decent results in some of the more difficult fixtures on paper this year. Obviously winning at Spurs, beating Manchester United at home. I guess you could throw in drawing at home to Wolves. You might as well put them into that bracket. They play Sheffield United on Thursday. They're doing all right, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing particularly well.
I've stocked up on water. Miguel Almer on assist. The amount of people tagging me in tweets. Almer on assist.
He hasn't scored.
It's only been 9 months. When he actually scores,
definitely going to need the water.
especially if St. Maximin lays it on a plate for him as well, you get the double up.
Yeah,
good for Newcastle, considering none of their forwards can put the ball in the onion bag. Obviously scored 2 good goals from their point of view, although defensively both were absolutely shocking from City.
City are just ropey.
It's just not. Do you know what? I don't think it's. Well, I think defensively he's causing them nervous moments.
I mean, Fernandinho
It's
isn't
just
a
not
centre
right.
back, let's be honest.
Yeah, but Fernandinho's their best centre back.
At the moment, but he's not a centre back, so you can tell why there's problems there.
But he's their best centre back. That's the problem.
I mean, City were a little bit wasteful. They could have won the game. I thought Kevin De Bruyne was their best player, as he often is, but he's always the one that seems to want to get the game by the scruff of the neck and try and make something happen, make the driving runs or create the chances.
I got in the ground at Spurs about 5 minutes before he scored. So I went. Anybody who's been to Spurs, you got the main market area, which is always absolutely rammed. So I went up the top and had a beer, and behind the home end, there's quite a big space where it sort of overlaps the roof and that. The noise in that place when De Bruyne scored was unbelievable.
Really?
Not obviously people weren't shouting goal, but just the echo of whoa, you could hear just everybody gasping. Fuck me, did he catch it well?
Yeah. Just watching it, you that sound of the ball hitting the stanchion, bang. You just think, right, okay. Yes,
always
Kevin.
Better when they're going off the bar, aren't they? Always
yes,
better.
Kevin. But you could just tell there was not a goalkeeper in the world could have saved that.
The thing that stood out to me was there was a lot of talk, I think particularly after the Chelsea game, about him being tired. One of the things I feel when I'm looking at him, and we look at some of his numbers from the weekend, most crosses in the league at the weekend, most key passes at the weekend, joint most through balls at the weekend, most shots of any player in the league at the weekend, Kevin De Bruyne with 6, joint most shots on target with 3 as well.
Yep.
When they were struggling at 1-1, he was the one with a desire. And I'm looking at him thinking, you've got all these players who have had 2 years of success, and we kind of know just to go again and motivate yourself, especially when them in red down the road are winning every week and putting the pressure on constantly. And you think, And the pressure's really on them to win the Champions League, isn't it? Everyone's kind of looking at it on the outside, thinking that. And I'm looking at De Bruyne thinking he's missed all of last season and he looks desperate for it.
Yeah.
He's the driving force. He's going to continue to remain the driving force for them. He might get left out of Burnley. Yeah, do you know what? He might do so, but I think back to that Norwich game and I think they just can't do without him. They've got a Champions League fixture next midweek that is now a dead rubber. They can do whatever they want with it. So I expect City to go quite strong against Burnley again. Similar team. Gundogan suspended, so Rodri will come in, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think they might make changes in the full-back positions. I don't think Mendy will play. I think Mendy will be too important for him on Saturday, although he's not really looked like a player since he's got back in the team.
I don't think you can read too much into... I would have suggested that their front 4 or 5 will stay the same, and Sterling, Jesus and Mahrez with De Bruyne behind. I can't see any changes there. Mahrez was okay as well. I just think they lack that urgency and that final killer touch, which they have so often this year.
The bit that got me where I ended up going for Jesus was thinking back, and we said it briefly Friday morning, was the idea that if either Jesus or Aguero was out, fire the other one.
Yeah.
And essentially now you've got a 9.5 million forward is what I'd bought at, in the most attacking team in the country. Mm-hmm. We obviously, I think we all agree now, Liverpool are going to go and win this league.
Yeah.
But in terms of the amount of goals scored at the end of the season, City may probably still finish on the highest. Mm-hmm. And suddenly you're firing their number 9 in at 9.5 million. Couldn't resist it. I looked back at all the numbers. He's averaged a return since he joined City every 84 minutes.
Yeah.
I think, I'll take 3 returns in 3 games. So, if he gets me 2 tomorrow night and something against United at the weekend or the other way around or whatever, that'll do. And then he goes back out. That was my thinking, and that's why I went that way rather than Zaha first. Mm-hmm. So I won't judge that till after the Man United game. De Bruyne's so important to them. I even before the weekend, people he's tired. Should I get rid? I'm thinking the one thing with City is leave him. He ain't going nowhere out of my team under any circumstances bar injury.
Yeah, I agree with you. Both Sky FF and in this, actually.
But I think probably once Aguero's fit again and it gets awkward in terms of selection, particularly over the Christmas period, you're okay to go without the rest at the moment till Laporte's fit and that. Just interestingly, I was looking at some numbers earlier, unusually for me. Bernardo Silva has the joint best returns per 90 minutes so far this season. Don't play often enough. No,
considering he's thought of as Pep's favourite.
I think they'll be better when they get him back in.
Yeah.
It's just a personal opinion.
Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 2, which means Burnley are going to come back and keep a clean sheet in their next game, right, against Manchester City. But Palace keeping another clean sheet. I had Kelly on the bench, but Kelly now playing at right back to cover the injuries there. Zaha got on the score sheet, as predicted.
It's inevitable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The second I didn't buy him.
The second I saw he'd scored a Match of the Day challenge, I thought that you had bought him because I didn't know.
Well, the worst bit is obviously I came out of Spurs and I've got all these messages tagging me going, well done.
I didn't buy him.
Did you not see the team I tweeted out without him in it? Thanks for that. So many people, because of your recommendation. I'm like, this is not make me feel better, but thanks. I'm glad you followed that advice. I think for Burnley here, a couple of things happened. Charlie Taylor got injured in the minutes leading up to Zaha's goal.
Yeah.
And we really felt they were going to be a lot more stable with him back in the side. Admittedly, the goal comes from the other side, but I think that's harmful. Apparently, the injury's not serious. So he's very unlikely to play against Man City. Not that if you have bought him, I don't think you would have started him in that fixture. He shouldn't be out for too long. So I think you can hold. To be honest, Palace scored 2 shit goals here where Nick Pope needs to have a big look at himself.
Yeah, he did let him squeeze through, didn't he?
We should say both of them. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And there are calls, I think mainly because of this fixture and then Tottenham on Saturday, there are people thinking it's the right time to come off. My advice on that would be only do it if you've got no other problems.
Yeah,
I'm still sitting there with heat, and it's just not worth the thumping about for the extra odd points that you may or may not get with a keeper. I mean, look at Tim Krul yesterday against Arsenal. He potentially saves another penalty, and he'll be hitting top bonus.
Yeah,
just for saving a pen. That can be any keeper or in any game in any week. So, I mean, I wouldn't force it. I think if people are desperate to come off, I think if you can get up to Gator and you haven't got the Palace coverage, that would be who I'd advise. Or obviously Dean Henderson is a good alternative.
Chelsea 0, West Ham 1. Didn't see this coming from... No one saw this coming from anywhere.
No, mate. No one saw this coming.
But it is typical of West Ham. I did say to you, I think West Ham are going to get something from this, and only because there was no evidence for my decision, only because football is football and dumb stuff happens. That was my logic behind, you know what? Something somewhere's got to give at some point, and ultimately it did. Fornals pops up with an assist, which he never does. We've got a keeper who is not as bad as Roberto, which I don't want to give him any more praise than that because he's only played the one game, but he kept a clean sheet. And we've got a striker that moved.
Yeah, I mean, I think Antonio made a massive difference for you. As we've already recorded tomorrow's Tottenham podcast, so we talk a little bit more about obviously Anderson playing in the hole on that and the four behind, more of a 4-4-1-1 than a 4-1-4-1. Just being a little bit more solid. 2 banks of 4. I said to you when we recorded it, like, to only concede 1 shot on target against them in the second half after you went in front is impressive. It's good, yeah. Especially as Diop was suspended as well. Please don't go and buy West Ham assets. I think Antonio at 6.9, probably a little expensive, isn't he?
He is a little expensive at the moment. Give it a couple more weeks.
He might have a little streak. He could
give
do,
it a couple
couldn't he?
more weeks. I did talk about him in our Sky Fantasy Football show as potentially a consideration. That is a different game altogether. Look, he's played. He didn't return at the weekend, but he could have. He had a couple of half decent chances. But he's had a goal and an assist, and he's played 90. He's played 2.5 games, and he's got two returns so far. So keep an eye on him, but I don't think now is the time.
He does have a yellow flag for some reason at the moment.
Muscle injury. I'm not
0.7% ownership. Wolves away next, and then an interesting set of fixtures for yourselves. Arsenal at home. I mean, the thing is, you don't even look past that now. That's when you buy, isn't it?
Yeah.
In spite of obviously the managerial change, if you don't see massive improvements on Thursday against Brighton, like, could you target him? I mean, if you were to go into West Ham, you'd go Antonio, wouldn't you?
We've got a blank in 18 again, so you've got to factor that into consideration as well.
True.
So, not at the moment, I would say. But Chelsea, on Match of the Day, they said that Chelsea only committed 1 foul throughout the whole game.
None.
And when I read some match reports, it was none.
None. I've never known that before.
I might have misheard 1 and none.
I've never known that before. And you committed like 16 or something.
Fouls.
Yeah. It's astonishing. I mean, 16's quite a lot.
Yeah.
Really.
10 to 12 in a game average. If
yeah,
you
I'd say
over
so.
20, that's taking the piss a little bit. But
yeah.
15, 16 in a feisty game against a London derby, I can understand it, but still, it is a few. But then Chelsea to be at 0.
With you committing a foul like just over every 5 minutes, and them not. How can you not commit a foul?
I don't know.
I don't know if there's. I've not seen enough of the game to comment on if there's anything in that. I've never known it before.
Yeah, when they were talking about it, they were like, I don't know whether to be on Match of the Day, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Either you weren't getting stuck in, what was the problem, or you tackled so well that you didn't give away any fouls.
Or West Ham have just got no divers because it's such an honest team.
I don't know about that. I'm trying to think if we've got any divers.
What do we think here for? I mean, you're on Mount.
I'm not on Mount. I'm on Pulisic.
Oh, sorry, you're on Pulisic. All right.
Yep.
We need to talk about Mount a little bit. So obviously he did play at the weekend. Kante didn't, and he kind of played in this sort of right of a midfield free, moving forward to join in as a number 10. I don't think they'll be playing many more games without N'Golo Kante. It was Jorginho that was sacrificed later in the game. We think, as we've said numerous occasions, Kovacic has been playing quite well, although again, I didn't see enough of the game at the weekend. I assumed that Mount plays. Pedro played instead of Willian and was anonymous, so Ted at Rotation FPL told me. So Willian will get back in the team.
He did have one chance in the first half, Pedro.
I was reluctant to sell Mount. I felt it was the right thing to do, but I was reluctant about it. I don't know if that's FPL Chancellor sent a great tweet out last week about holding him being nostalgic. I think I'm nervous about it because of the value I'd built up in him, and I might be in a position in a couple of weeks where I do want to go back to him.
Yeah,
because he does still represent great value.
I didn't have the value issue, which was good from my point of view. I just think it's the same as the Sterling to Mane move, where people are overthinking it. Sterling will still go and score points, like he proved this weekend. Even if you go from Mount to Pulisic or wherever you decide to go, Mount will still score points. You can't look at it like, am I going to miss Mount's returns? The question is, am I going to get more returns elsewhere? And that was ultimately what made my decision for me. I bought Mount quite late, 6.6 million, so I only had a 0.1 tied up in him for my selling value. So it made that decision a little bit easier for me. For some of the people that bought him at 6.2, 6.3, that's going to be a lot harder. But yeah, I think, I mean, he is still going to get you returns, but there's plenty of others available out there.
Thing is, he's 6.6, which is exactly the same price as Zaha, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mount's ownership is still at 28% ownership. Zaha has only had a jump of sort of 2% since the Burnley goal. It was 7.5% roughly at the time recording. He's 9.2 going up towards 9.5% ownership. Wilfried Zaha 100% will go up in price tonight.
Yes.
Mason Mount, I would say, might go down again, not tonight, but Tuesday night. Certainly before they kick off against Villa, there's every chance that will go down again. You've got to know that's going to swing. Because so many, I think, are going to just go directly Mount to Zaha.
Yeah. Liverpool 2, Brighton 1. Comfortable win for Liverpool, really, I would say.
Brighton had more of the ball, man.
That was one stat that I was confused by. Brighton having more possession.
Well, they picked FPL Seagull. No one sent a great tweet out. I think he was up at Anfield at the weekend. And he tweeted out when he saw the Brighton team, he said, like, I give up trying to guess this pot of ball. I really don't know. And I don't think he's complaining about it because it's innovative of trying something. Essentially, they picked, I can only describe it as 5 central midfield players. And they played, I mean, you wouldn't really say Gross as a central midfield player, but he's a central player. They basically picked no wide players at all. Bissouma played in a more advanced position. I don't think that's something that we would see regularly. And they played with Connolly up front on his own. And it was interesting because I think they just really shut down that midfield area. They, rather than say, as a few teams have gone to Anfield, I think particularly Arsenal game week 3 and employed that diamond, this was very much a 4-3-2-1. And one of the benefits of playing that sort of system against Liverpool is if the 3 in front of the back 4 can be diligent, if the 2 fullbacks don't bomb on too much, really it's the onus of the 2 wide players in that 3 in front of the back 4 to be the one that goes out to the fullback. It's a job Sissoko when Spurs have played that system very well. And I think they had some success here. Obviously, look, Trent got 2 assists, but they were both from corners, right? Yeah. So from that aspect, they partly done their job there.
You do have 3 big units at the back in Dunk, Webster and Byrne, and VVD to get in ahead of them on 2 set pieces was disappointing, I suppose, more than anything else.
Yeah, it's not the sort of goals they want to be seeing because they are a unit. We spoke, didn't we, interestingly, after the Leicester game, when we did Clash of the Correspondence with Anoop at Foxy FPL, and we were talking about Chilwell taking some of the set pieces in terms of trying to cross that come away. And yet Alexander-Arnold, both corners came from the in-swingers. It's interesting.
Yeah. Leandro Trossard came off the bench and picked up another assist. It's a goal and 3 assists in his last 5. He's only started 2 of those games, sorry. He is my potential move from Yarmolenko to Trossard. I have the right amount of money at 5.8 million. He'll still be first on my bench, but I reckon there are fixtures coming up that I can play him in as well. I still think he's a good shout.
Yeah, obviously they're at home in game week 18. Look, Sheffield United, the fixture is not as good as it looks on paper because they're obviously a very good side. 0.3% ownership is mad for someone I think we all like. Has had 5 attacking returns despite
just injuries, isn't it? Injuries and fitness.
Very injury disrupted. He's only, since game week 4, He's only had one outing of more than an hour, which was the 2-0 defeat to Leicester. So returns hidden, really. I think he's one that is probably on the fringes of a lot of people's minds, actually. And he might be someone that people target in game week 18, I think.
How do you feel about the Mane move and Mane captaincy, Mane, Salah, all the rest of that kind of
I have
debate?
no...
It is what it is. Keep him, right?
I think... Yeah, why are you selling? No, I mean, what? Because he's had one blank?
Well,
was it two blanks?
Still, Salah owners are still looking at potentially swapping over to Mane. I don't know. To be honest, I'm out of that equation and debate. It's not even an affordability. I can't afford him in my team anyway, so I don't even think about the two of those guys.
His first blank in 5. I still feel that this weekend I made the right choice. I'm okay with that. Yeah. I believe even in hindsight, looking back on it, if you said, go and make the same choice again, yeah, I'd have gone for Mane. He had a couple of really great chances in the first half, which normally he puts away. And I think it was only for, obviously, Rodgers' tactical substitution to get Iheanacho with Vardy that suddenly opened up some space for Jamie Vardy against Everton. So I feel I made the right choice. That said, as we've kind of already alluded to, I think, unfortunately, and it's a shame we're in this position, but we've probably all just got a captain Jamie Vardy Wednesday, and that's it. And we'll all blank together, all enjoy the ride together.
Exactly. 46% ownership. I mean, it's doubled over about 3 weeks, isn't it, Jamie Vardy? 46% now.
Well, I bought him before the Southampton game. I think he was about 13-14%.
Yeah, mad. Absolutely crazy. Spurs 3, Bournemouth 2. In the end, it was your second 3-2 win in a row from 3-0 as well. We talk more about Spurs 3, Bournemouth 2 on Tottenham. Our show that's released tomorrow, lunchtime tomorrow being Tuesday, so do stay tuned for that. A couple of assists for Son. Lovely jubbly.
Yeah, more returns as kind of highlighted last week. The run is continuing for Son in terms of since game week 3. He's only had the one blank in a game that he started, was the 3-0 defeat at Brighton. This is a constant flow of returns, and now you're looking at the last 3. What is it? 8, 13, 10.
Yeah.
You're going, shit, this is impressive.
He was going to be my guest for the teaser.
It's not.
He's not far behind. 43 points.
That said, I feel like I need to check his numbers now to make sure that's all.
I'll do that
all
while
right.
you talk about him. 6 games, you said, right?
Yeah, I bet he's got more.
Nah, he's on 33, 38, 39 points.
Oh, there you go, right. Yeah, he's close, though.
Yeah.
2, 5 and 1 before that, that's why. My only thing on Son, I've had a few people have asked me since the weekend, particularly, Son or Ali. It's one of the main talking points at the moment. My immediate answer is neither. Still, I've not changed my opinion on that. I think we've played 3 really average teams in the last 3 games, if you include the Olympiacos game. We've conceded 6 goals in those games. Everything's not right defensively still. That's clear and obvious. Spurs are not going to be keeping clean sheets. If you do want to get Serge Aurier, you're getting him in for attacking returns. There will not be clean sheets. Son or Ali. Now, on the numbers perspective, when you look at that long sustained run for Son, it is incredibly difficult to argue against him. I just feel actually that the upcoming fixtures, the immediate ones like United away, Wolves away, I think even maybe Burnley, and then Dele Alli has a great record against Chelsea as well. The immediate next 4 fixtures, if you wanted to dive in, might be that Ali returns more.
Quite possibly, yeah. I agree with you. I've always stuck with Son because of the consistency. 3 blanks in 11 game weeks for Son. That's really consistent. He's returning 3 out of every 4.
That's what I said. The only one he's blanked in that he started since game week 3, he started every game bar Watford at home. He came on at half-time, blanked in that. Yeah. Was the Brighton away fixture in game week 8 when the whole team was absolutely horrific.
Yeah. It doesn't look like he's struggling with fitness or anything at the moment. He's just this good old top of...
He had joint most tackles won in the league at the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, he's busy as... He's doing a really good shift for the team because I do this a bit more tactically tomorrow. Obviously, the left back... as it was Vertonghen at the weekend, I think you'll see more of Vertonghen in that position. He's not going forward. So it's a real onus on Son. If the opposition's got an attacking fullback and Bournemouth like to push theirs on, is an onus to get back. He really was busy, particularly in the first half. Did some great tracking. That might be to his detriment as well. He obviously is staying a lot wider. He does still make that run. We talk about that direct ball and it's specifically from Alderweireld, a ball that Alderweireld's been playing since he came to the club. It's not a new thing. Spurs have scored, and particularly Dele Alli has benefited from a lot of Spurs goals like that. Son, with his electric running in behind, can make that run from left to as well. The fact that Dele's got his mojo back, mate. He's back close to Harry. He is getting in the box, far up the pitch. It's the best change that Mourinho's made so far because it's another weapon for us going forward. I think short-term Dele Alli, longer-term Son's numbers are incredibly difficult to argue with. I do feel, however, it's United away, and whatever you think of them, I don't think it's time's right, personally. I mean, it's a good week to shove the funds to then go to them afterwards if you wanted to.
What's your views on Bournemouth? Harry Wilson scored 6 goals this season now, but they are sporadic, his returns, and I just don't think there's anyone from Bournemouth that catches my eye other than Rico, who is, because of his price, a good bench filler. I mean, he had that long-range effort, did Rico, that was half decent, and he'll still always be a little bit of a threat that you're happy with at 4.2 or whatever he's priced at now, but no one else. Callum Wilson's done.
So some of the listeners might have seen I met up with Neil at AFCB NG, our Bournemouth correspondent pre-game. We did a brief 10-minute live stream on Twitter.
Nice.
And he's quite a positive guy, Neil, but he was saying to me, like, going forward at the moment, it's just not right. For whatever reason. I mean, Harry Wilson's got 6 goals now, which is a brilliant return from very limited minutes to now be on 57 FPL points overall.
Is it because when they were playing well earlier, it was a trio, right? Solanke and King and Wilson, and now they've stopped because of injuries?
Yeah,
what I understand.
I mean, Solanke ended up starting at the weekend and didn't do a lot. Callum Wilson works hard, but I think he needs others around him.
Yeah.
What Neil was stressing was obviously they've been really hampered this year by, obviously, Fraser has not been performing to the levels of last season. Danjuma came in and has been injured, so he's only just integrating into the team now. Harry Wilson, all his attacking returns would normally come from set pieces. He scored another goal at the weekend, like the one at Southampton, where he's arrived late into the box. But generally it will be from set pieces. But David Brooks is such a massive miss for them. He's the one from central areas who's the real creative. And I think Wilson misses King. Wilson performs a lot better with Josh King.
Agreed.
So just not right at the moment, Bournemouth. It didn't help them, I think, at the weekend. Obviously, Simon France has just come back and has been suspended. And Billing was suspended as well. They've been stronger defensively when Lerma and Billing have both played together. It's not a drama or a crisis for Bournemouth. I think I was just surprised that Neil was so unconfident going. I don't know if that was because he was in a pub full of Tottenham fans, but he just wasn't confident going into the game. They've got Liverpool and Chelsea inside the next 3. There's not a lot more really to say about them.
No.
To be honest, I think it's not come off Rico. It's leave him on the bench at the moment, isn't it? You might think Palace away tomorrow night is a decent game to play it in because Palace often are better away from home than at home. You're not buying.
They're sitting just above us in the table, 12th. So there's no panic stations, but they've lost their last 3 now.
Oh, they'll be absolutely fine. I mean, just go and look at their run of fixtures between game week 20 and game week 25. I think, actually, no, sorry, go back a couple. They've got Arsenal game week 19. There's a run of fixtures there around Boxing Day that we can look at Bournemouth again, I think. Especially once they get some of these players back fit.
Yeah.
They'll have a little run there, sort of January. We might have a look at them again.
Southampton 2, Watford 1. Now, Kiko Sanchez-Flores is already gone. 10 games.
Wife was upset.
Yours was, eh?
Yeah.
Did she like a bit of
she was out all day Sunday. She come home, she didn't know. Flixcast, wasn't it? Oh, he's gone. Oh, I liked him. What do you like about him, love? I know 6th goal don't like him. He's well pleased that he's gone.
I mean, Danny Ings has scored again. James Ward-Prowse on the score sheet again. But Southampton blow so hot or cold. We've got to play them next week. We could beat them 3-0. They could beat us 3-0.
I think our Watford fans will hate this. But I think if they get someone like Big Sam in, they could yet stay up. But that's the only way I see it.
Not Houghton?
No, I don't think so, because I think they're having too many problems defensively. I mean, they suffered. I got some sympathy because we've had a lot of players in and out of injury at the moment, and they ended up playing Messina, who's not a centre-back, sort of left-sided of the back three at Southampton at the weekend. Jan Matt was missing. Femenia really kind of struggled, particularly once Buffal came on later in the game. But what they have got is real physicality. They have done for a while. You think of that midfield of Decore and Capoue. You think of, Craig Dawson was a big miss for them at the weekend. They've got units at the back like him. They need to come back into that team. They could be a physical side. Now, you add that with the little bit of the sprinkling like Delafeo. Pereira's another one who's been injured. And maybe, at that stage, maybe there are goals in that team. Yeah. But I think they need to get a manager in who's going to play to their strengths.
Yeah.
And that's probably been a little bit direct, bypassing the midfield. Decore's great at sort of joining in. He's got great energy. But I think if they don't go down that route, they're finished. I don't think anybody's survived with the points they've got so far.
When's the last time a club had 3 managers in the same season?
I bet it's not that long.
Yeah, I can't remember who or when, but it does.
There's always Charlton spring to mind.
It's chopping and changing.
When Kirbishley went, and it was like, oh yeah, we've had the same manager for like 12 years. Let's have 3 in 4 months or whatever. There have been some since, I'm sure. I mean, if Everton get rid of Marco Silva soon enough, they can go back to Watford, can't they?
Yeah.
Don't rule that out, by the way. That's not even a joke, mate. Don't rule it out.
8 Premier League clubs have had 3 managers or more in a season. Crystal Palace, 97-98. That was, Steve Coppell.
This would have been a good podcast.
Back in the day.
You've ruined this.
Leicester City.
Who's the most recent one?
Let's go all the way to the most recent. And it was 2016-17.
Oh, so it's not long ago.
Swansea City.
Ah, yes.
Francesco Guidolin.
Bob Bradley.
And then Bob Bradley came in, for Guidolin.
And Clement.
And then he left. It doesn't say who followed him there. Oh, Paul Clement. There you go.
And Clement come in and had a good run, didn't they? They looked like we're going to get out of it when they beat Arsenal and Liverpool, and they still went down, didn't they?
Yeah. And just a season before that was Villa. Tim Sherwood.
Oh, but they had a disaster,
Remy
didn't they?
Gard.
Remy Gard,
and then did with Eric Black as the manager at the end of the season.
You forget these people, then.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a big sidetrack. We might do a people's poll on that. Shit football managers. I think there's something in that, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Let's talk about the Sunday games, shall we? Norwich 2, Arsenal 2. I thought Arsenal started bright enough in terms of their energy levels, but ultimately Norwich were pretty decent. And I did think about you when Cantwell scored, and I thought, you know what, the performances in the last couple of games, not the FPL returns, but the performances, I don't think you can sell him. He's getting into the box, he's an attacking threat. Cantwell's got to stay, surely.
He has now, yeah. Just briefly on Southampton, just to cover that off, obviously Danny Ings is beginning to show real talismanic form for Southampton.
Yeah.
And they do have another good fixture against Norwich
at
the weekend. It's the made of glass fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
I did buy him in for the South team, though. And he does tend to hit the bonus points when he scores, which is notable. Yeah, Cantwell is such an interesting one because...
Pookie and Cantwell return at the weekend,
inevitable, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hernandez was lively down the left side. He looked very good.
Cantwell, I've been trying to get rid of. I said a couple of weeks ago, it's my worst signing of the season. Getting in at 4.9 and thinking that price would keep going, and he looked a great asset at that price. And I think anybody who watched the game they had with Watford when he made a late cameo appearance would have gone, Christ, how did I even end up with this guy? He took one free kick that went about 20 yards over. He just looked like a disaster when he come on. You went, well, he ain't getting back in that team. And now the international break, they obviously worked on something. And we spoke about it last week, this idea of getting, obviously, Hernandez with his pace, McLean breaking through with Cantwell kind of coming off the right and being able to join in, just brought him a bit more energy in the team. And then they've got it. They've got a little bit more energy. If there was going to be a winner late on, I felt it was Norwich yesterday.
Yeah.
Although Arsenal played very well until Pukki scored. Cantwell can't go now.
Nah.
Having taken 0.3 losses on him, I'm not going to get rid of him now. And he's somebody that I might well use sort of around game week 18. I wouldn't personally start him at Southampton in the week. I'm quite happy if he keeps sitting on the bench and gets 8 points every other week and I get the money back off him.
Yeah.
I'm not that bothered. He's back in that team. He's the best asset in and around that price. Don't cut the corners. I think if you're looking to downgrade to a midfielder in that value, like go back for him. It's all right.
Aubameyang 10.9, 10 goals this season now. He's been ticking along nice and steady throughout the season. I think you can't really chop and change with Aubameyang, can you? If you buy him, just keep him and leave him for the whole season, knowing that you're going to get somewhere between 20 and 25 goals and be done with it.
It could very easily have been a 0, couldn't it?
Yeah, true.
I don't, by the way, somebody did ask me about the retake. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's really harsh, but I think the fact that it comes to the player, one of the players who then clears it, it's doubly harsh because there's no Arsenal player behind him. And I think in the spirit of the game, it affects absolutely nothing. I think if he's been with an Arsenal player and he beats him to it on the rebound, then I go, yeah, all right. But the fact that there was no Arsenal player near him felt incredibly harsh. But by letter of law, I don't really have an issue to it because he's had an impact on what's happened afterwards.
It's the inconsistency that's upset a lot of people because I don't know if you saw on Twitter the pictures of Tim Krul saving both penalties against Manchester United. He was a clear foot off his line when the penalty was struck, yet they weren't asked to be retaken. So people just want a little bit of consistency. I think that's more than anything else.
Well, that one that got retaken was the same as the one that was retaken against you game week 1.
Yeah.
Because it came back to a player that had encroached.
Cleared it. I think Ricey was the one that cleared it away at the time.
And that's why that specifically, because obviously there were Arsenal players going into the box as well. On Aubameyang, one thing we have to be clear on here is the 2 goals have come from circumstances, a penalty and a corner that have no bearing on his role on the game. His role in the game was, not to be critical of him because I don't think he played badly. We said this on the People's Poll earlier. I don't know how happy he'd be playing wide right if he's going to continue in that system. And I'm not sure that one of the things we spoke about early in the season, sort of after game week 2, and we talked about Aubameyang in wide areas specifically then after they'd played Burnley. And I said, I don't have a problem off the left. I don't like him off the right.
Yeah.
I think that's an issue. But it could be that it was to target,
One
particularly the fact
only,
Sam Byram's not as quick as Max Aaron's, although Byram's played really well for Norwich at left back in the last couple of games. He's obviously right-footed as well. Whether there was something in that and that might change for the Brighton fixture, I don't know. I would be thinking of moving Aubameyang on, but that said, probably not till after they play West Ham.
Let's move on to the Wolves-Sheffield United game. Thank you, Baldock, for the assist. He repaid the 0 point in Sky FF from last week by giving me an assist this week. Having said that, I mean, Sheffield United probably should have won this game overall. They played particularly well. I reckon Lys Mousset is going to be the answer to the trivia question. He's been banging in the goals. He had that hat-trick of assists. It just came to me, I'm looking at him here. You know what? He's been scoring points recently. 4.9 is he now, or is he 5?
Lys Mousset is the answer to the trivia question, astonishingly. And the reason I happened to look at the statistics for the last 6 game weeks was because that Arsenal game in game week 9 was his first start. Since then, 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 returns. He hasn't even started all of them. He came on as a substitute and scored against you in game week 10.
Yeah, and Arsenal.
He's had 64 minutes against Burnley, 3 assists, 67 minutes against Man United, goal. If you actually break it down into points per 90, it's even better. I think I did make a note of it. Points per 90 in the last 6 game weeks. Vardy 10.7, Mousset 10.2.
Oof, not far behind Jamie, eh?
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And Jamie Vardy scored 60.
But don't worry, I bought Jordan Ayew last week.
Oh dear.
And the fixtures are still nice.
Still all right for Sheffield
Newcastle at home, Norwich away, Villa at home, Brighton away, Watford at home. Oh man, have I made a mistake here? I don't know.
He's not even a bench fodder now, is he? He's established
Well, no,
himself as the main striker.
I'm going to start Jordan Ayew this week. So now, from saying after he looked like he'd picked up the injury against United, Manchester United days, I feel like, yeah, shit, I wish I was going into that Newcastle game and then Norwich game with Mousse in the team instead. Yeah. It is what it is. They have a difficult run between game weeks 20, 24, but then at that value, you can get him in now when you're... He's going to give you a bench headache, but he's really worth looking at. Really, really is.
If I got rid of Chris Wood to Mousse, which gives me 1.1 million, it means that I can go all the way up to 6.9 for Yarmolenko and gives me so many better options there. I don't necessarily think Mousse is that much worse an option than Chris Wood with the way the fixtures are lining up for Sheffield United at the moment.
It's just such an astonishing turnaround.
Yeah.
To think like Bournemouth were happy to let him go. Even what did they pay for him? 8 million or something? Whatever it was, even it felt like a lot, to be honest. You just think, well, this guy's never done anything at Bournemouth. He's never had a look in. You kind of trust Eddie Howe, don't you? So you think there's got to be a good reason behind that. But no, he's making good runs into the channels. He's everything about him at the moment looks right. He's adored up there.
10 million was
absolutely adored already. All the stuff that's coming out, the Twitter account. I saw something in the club shop last week where, because of the injury, he didn't get the Man of Match award, and young fan gave him the award. He give it back to the young fan. There's a lot of love. It's all really nice up there at the moment.
Yeah.
And they're a really good side, right?
Yeah.
Somebody said, a few people have said that they're a top goal scorer away from being the best side that's come up in like forever. And well, not forever, you know what I mean. We didn't really think we'd get another sort of Wolves from last year in a very, very long time. They might be better. Like pound for pound, they might be better. And if they're going to continue their run, Mousse is the one who's going to get goals. I'm not sure, but I can't argue at the price. Like, was he 5-1? Is he
5.1 now? He is.
I mean, I as I've kind of said, I might end up going with like Mousse, Ayew, Jamie Vardy, and then I can have midfield. Son, De Bruyne, Mane, Zaha.
Yeah, power midfield. Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 2. I mean, I suppose there's no. We're not surprised that Villa have gone to Manchester United and got a result, are we? Really? They're just not the Manchester United that they were, and started very lively. Aston Villa. Yeah
and no, because Villa have shown inconsistencies, particularly defensively. I think there's a lot of looking at Villa at the moment, and I think in the people's poll leading up to game week 18 will be covering Aston Villa. I'll bet my life on that now.
Now's not the time because they've got Chelsea away, then Leicester at home. But after that, they've got a fairly decent run all the way
Add Sheffield United away into that as well, mate.
Yeah, true.
Then it starts.
Right. Southampton at home.
Game week 18, which is the blank week. Southampton at home, Norwich at home, Watford away. And right now, where I think a lot of us would have all earmarked John McGinn, I think now we'd be looking at Jack Grealish at the same price.
5.9 million. He's an easy move for me to go to from Andrei Yarmolenko as well. He just needs to wear clothes that are the right flipping size for him.
It would be helpful.
I don't understand why his socks don't fit, his shorts don't fit. He's fucking, what's wrong with him?
He gives Villa so much in terms of how many... I'm sure he's the most fouled player in the league. If it's not him, it must be Zaha. I bet it's the two of them by a distance. He gives Villa so much. He's so subtly strong. He looks a quicker player than what I'd seen previously now. And he's adding that element of two things. The goal yesterday is absolutely fantastic. De Gea's got no chance, can't save it. And then also think like the goal against Brighton where he arrives into the box, the sort of goal that you would expect McGinn to score, but not Grealish. And this playing further up the field, I think it's given him even greater responsibility to lead this team. I do hope that when that England squad comes around next March for the next one, that he's fit and he's in it, because he will be so well suited to international football the way he holds on to the ball. I think we'd go Grealish now rather than John McGinn in FPL.
And last but not least,
United.
Well,
just obviously another return for Rashford as a positive.
That's all to really look at there, isn't there?
Yeah. I don't really want to say anything because we're playing on Wednesday. But at this moment, I think we can go out there and do them.
Yeah. Well, and you know that Mourinho's going to want to beat them more than anything.
There should be an advantage there
in
that bar, I don't know, one or two players, maybe Maguire. He knows every one of them inside out, doesn't he? So there should be a benefit there. The thing is, there's just no fear on that fixture anymore.
No.
Even though I don't feel like I'm falling into this trap of Spurs are back. I really don't. Like, I wouldn't say go and buy Spurs players before United, but there's no fear going to Old Trafford anymore. There's none.
No. Leicester 2, Everton 1. I think Everton were all right, especially in the first half. They tired a bit in the second half, and Leicester's changing formation with Iheanacho really did help. Leicester weren't great in the first half, to be honest with you. They weren't fluid, but in the second half, you could see their passing movement between like Barnes and Maddison and Tielemans coming off a lot better. And Iheanacho gave him someone to work off, a foil, and even Vardy someone to run off, which just completely changed the game. And to play 20, 30 minutes, whatever you play, 20 minutes and get 38 BPS points is incredible.
Until the substitution, I thought Everton were going to score again. They kept getting down that right-hand side with Sidibe.
Sidibe had a great game.
Going forward.
Yeah.
Defensively, he's not... I don't care how far forward he's getting. You can't... Even at 0.2% ownership, 5.3 million, you're not buying an Everton defender at the moment. Nope. Sorry, forget that. But he did stand out. I thought the midfield two of Sigurdsson and Tom Davies did okay defensively. They got themselves into decent positions, protected by... It was a sensible decision by Silva. I know it was obviously coming into a lot of criticism, but I think it was a sensible decision to go with 3 centre-halves to protect that back two. And then they played with 3 mobile front players in Iwobi, Richarlison, and Calvert-Lewin. Richarlison should score more goals like that, I think, because he's so good in the air. Perhaps that's a little critical. It's had similarities to the volley he scored at Southampton, actually, in terms of the way he arrives in the box. I always feel Everton are better when Calvert-Lewin plays. Just a personal opinion. I think he gives them an out ball all the time. And I know Sean, who we had on Clash of the Correspondents last week at Spirit Blues, really wants Iwobi in that team. I thought they were unfortunate. I really did. I mean, by the end of the game, once the equaliser went in, it was grim. Mm-hmm. But before that, they played okay.
They were okay, weren't they?
Give Everton Leicester as many troubles as most other teams have this season.
Yep. Ultimately, though, Leicester's power did tell, and in that last 20 minutes, they really looked good. Vardy looked lively. Vardy, I said it was going to be my set and forget for the next 4 weeks. 1 more week down, another 3 to go. Watford at home, Villa away, Norwich at home. Not looking anywhere other than Jamie Vardy for my captain at the moment.
Okay, so I think as it stands now,
you'll be the same.
We've got a captain him against Watford. I don't think there's even I've seen some polls going around on Twitter, and he's winning like 85% of the votes and stuff.
Yeah.
With some high vote numbers, madness. And I think game week 17, even with Liverpool playing Watford,
Norwich at home, man.
Yeah, I think you've probably got to, haven't you? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the concern of Liverpool before they travel to Qatar. They're playing Qatar obviously on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
Could he maybe rest a couple? It is the early game. But I think, you'd probably just have to go for him again, wouldn't you? And imagine being in a situation now, we're looking at Liverpool at home to Brighton and at home to Watford, and not just also going Mane or Salah.
Yeah, but it's 13 goals this season now, 4 assists. The guy's just on fire.
Game week 16's not so clear. Villa away's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Villa away's tough. If you have Son, maybe you might want to consider that as Burnley. You could obviously consider Mane, Salah at Bournemouth. I don't think you'd consider the Chelsea players at Everton.
You wouldn't. I would maybe
Derby. I mean, I won't think about it till I come out the other side. But I would maybe even go Jesus against United. Or obviously you can go Sterling if you've got Sterling. I don't think KDB. I don't think game week 16 is obvious.
No.
But is it just the safest thing to do?
It will be for me. That's all I know. I'm sticking with Jamie Vardy for the next few.
I think it's probably right.
Yeah.
But it's not great for the game to be in that position.
What, that everybody's captaining the same player?
It's not the game's fault either. The guy scored in 6 consecutive games, right? And you look at the next 3. The thing is as well, if he does score in the next 3, then he's on 9 games in a row. It's his record of 11, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's his fucking record.
He's going to want to...
Admittedly then, it is Man City away in game week 18, but you can feel at that stage it's on again, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then game week 19's Liverpool to equal the record. I mean, I don't think he'll do that, but yeah, maybe we just have to do it. Suffer together. He will be very largely captains, I think, even in that Villa fixture.
Yeah.
As long as he returns against Watford as well.
Should we do some Twitter questions?
Yeah, I ain't seen any of them.
No, none of them. Well, there hasn't been a huge amount because we tweeted quite late now to try and, keep it a little quiet.
Keep it sociable.
Yeah, let's give a quick shout out to the top of our league, Daniel McCready. He stayed top of our league. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? Last week, he was 82nd in the world overall. Scored 55 points, giving him a game week rank of 2.6 million. Still had a green arrow.
Nice.
And went up to 66 in the world. So well done. And if anyone's interested, his overall rank in game week 1, 2.5 million. There's hope for us all yet. So well done, Daniel. Keep Rogers the cabin boy flying high and representing the league.
I did see, I don't know where they're positioned now, but in the overall league, the team that was number 3 in the world last week, there we go, we're going to grass him up. He's now number 4 in the world. Played their free hit.
Yeah.
And got 30 points.
Last week.
Yeah.
Oh. Oof.
Number 3 in the world, played the free hit and got 30 points.
Ouch.
Sorry, I'm not going to name the person because I don't want to,
Yeah, we're not shaming him.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. But it's a mistake, son. I mean, what sort of team was you in to do that? I don't really, I just can't get the thinking on that at all. And you end up with 30 from it as well. They missed everybody, no returns at all.
That is difficult. It's a very difficult week.
Yeah, but look, having a great season. We all wish we were ranked number 4 in the world, so well done.
There you go. Let's do a few questions. FPL Geek at official FPL Geek. You and Suj can have dinner with any 3 players and 3 managers, past or present. Who makes the table?
Go first. Why
pick one of each. I've always thought manager would have to be Dr. Wenger, isn't it, really? Professor Wenger.
I said that when we went on with Tom and Nick.
Yeah, it just would be fascinating.
So what are we picking them for?
Nah, I've changed my mind. Harry Redknapp would be the manager that I would want to have
What are we picking them for?
To have dinner with.
Just 3 managers to have
3
dinner
managers
with.
and 3 players, but just because of time, let's pick one manager and 1 player.
Well, I picked Jose.
I'm going to pick Harry Redknapp because he's always got a story to tell. Whenever you see him on like The Jungle or when he's on talk shows or whatever, he's always got a story about a player somewhere.
I'll have Jose, Poch and Harry Redknapp together.
Okay, that'll be fun and games. I'll get Wenger, Ferguson, fucking someone else. Yeah, dinner with any 3 players. I was just thinking, who are the skinniest footballers ever, so that makes more food for me.
I think now, if you take your own personal out of it, I mean, you'd want to get Guardiola and Klopp, wouldn't you?
Klopp,
just because there's so much difference in. They're obviously the 2. Obviously, City are struggling at the moment, but they're the 2 best teams in the country generally, and they play to such different styles. It would just be interesting to have that conversation, I think. And then worldwide, we get Zidane in, and it's probably a few things he could talk about.
Definitely.
I mean, he's going to get sacked at Madrid soon, but he's already completed football, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Right. Gibbo, Paul Gibbons 43. What to do with Tammy? Is Mousse a good replacement? Well, Mousse is because it will give you nearly £3 million to play around with, but is now the time to be ditching Tammy Abraham? The talk is that he may be fit.
Yeah.
By tomorrow's Wednesday's game. So
yeah, he could play.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've held through, you've held through.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I also took the opinion as well. I had him bought at 7.4. I sold him when he was 8. So sold for 7.7. I think is he now 7.8, is he?
Who's that?
Abraham.
He
7.8
hasn't
now.
dropped that low, I don't think, is he? That's
Yeah,
quite a drop
I
very
think so.
quickly. He's dropped to 0.2 million. I'll pull him up here. Tammy Abraham.
Quick, go.
7.9 still. He hasn't had a second drop yet.
It'll drop. He's still on a 25% chance of playing, so it will go again.
Yeah, he's down to 33% ownership. He was 50 plus before.
You can say it might cost me 2 transfers to go Jesus in and out. I think for me, it's not something I would advise, but I think it's really important to understand the difference of still having that wild card and knowing that I'm going to be using it at some point this month. To know that, okay, if I decide after United, right, Jesus has got to come out straight away, there's every chance I'll be wildcarding this Saturday night and then shifting them funds then to sort of do Sun and stuff like that.
Yeah. Pope's getting quite a few mentions here. Angel J. Ross is saying Pope has bad fixtures coming up. Do I bring in Gazaniga? Nothing in the bank, unfortunately. And a few other people. What to do with Nick Pope?
I've got a serious advice for anybody who's thinking of buying Gazaniga. Listen to Tottenham tomorrow.
Okay.
You won't buy him after that.
The Blue City says, who's the best long-term Pope replacement, Henderson or Guaita? Long-term, probably Henderson, but over the next 8 fixtures, maybe Guaita.
Oh, actually, no, I'd probably say longer term could be Gator.
Palace have been doing all right at the back.
Excuse me. The thing with Gator is, though, Joel Ward's out for a while. It's another one. Martin Kelly's one I can tack with the wild card still in place. Because Joel Ward's unlikely to play again this month.
No.
But I know that once he's fit, he'll get back in that team. But Martin Kelly's essentially the only cover they've got at right back. And really, if you're looking for short-termism, and I think particularly if you've still got that wild card in hand, in spite of how high his ownership already is, if you don't, Martin Kelly's a good shout. That price will probably go. If they keep another clean sheet tomorrow night, he's the one that people will go to defensively.
Armand Bafner at Mendistic wants to know thoughts on bringing in PVA alongside Stevo, our friend at Elite FPL Stevo, who also says a Crystal Palace defender is worth jumping on. He's thinking of PVA as well. I mean, I'm sitting here as a Kelly owner already, so I don't want a second one, but
I just think that's one where you can't justify paying the 1.4 million more or something.
No.
I just don't feel like there's the justification.
There hasn't been
in
the
that.
attacking returns so far this season. People think PVA's got amazing attacking returns. Historically, they're not amazing. Mate,
No, they are, really. Considering the clubs he's paid for, mate, as well.
I don't know. I'm not convinced. Looking historically, 3 goals last season, 5 goals the year before. It's not massive.
It's all right. What are we expecting from a left back who's
He's
playing
quite
for a
expensive.
mid-table team?
5.6 million, maybe you could get better value elsewhere.
It possibly will go down to 5.5, particularly if they don't keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth. I think that's one you just can't justify going the extra.
Yeah.
If you're looking for it for a double up, yeah, I can see that. Why you would look at Palace. So many frustrations on clean sheets, isn't it?
With Kelly, I've got a back 3 at the moment of Trent, Robertson and Lundstrom. Kelly and Rico are probably fairly even Steven in my choice, but I think Kelly probably picks ahead. I don't see how I could play Kelly ahead of De Bruyne, Maddison, Pulisic, Son, Wood, Jimenez, Vardy. So he's literally going to be sitting on my bench at this point.
Of course he is. But then he's going to be the cheapest player in your squad, so in theory you should be.
So why? Yeah, at that point, don't overthink it, right? I think for people, decide, is he actually going to be in your starting 11 or when is he going to be in your starting 11?
Depends what other people have got in their squads. Look, we've been quite
stubborn.
No matter how frustrating it is every week with Robertson and Trent.
We've got points every week.
I don't feel like, because we've got both of them, I don't feel we feel that frustration. I'm like, well, I'm still getting the average. One of them's doing it every other week, right?
Yeah.
So I don't really feel the frustration. We know there's not going to be clean sheets, but they do get attacking returns. Liverpool will never keep a clean sheet. Ever, 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 ever again. Everton are a world-class side away from home as well. Don't forget that.
129 points between the two of them.
But some people are really frustrated with it. I think if you've got one, you're more frustrated
than if you're with the other. I agree with you.
Because we've got both and we're looking at the average between the two going, this is okay.
Matt Hall, Dr. Matt07, ask a question which we're not going to answer. Can we get James's opinion on Son versus Ali for FPL, please? Well, we did talk about it when we talked about your game earlier. Otherwise, Tottenham tomorrow, you now have a great reason to have a listen, Matt.
Are we that short on questions?
Nah, just getting through them. Morpheus Fire. Do you think Manchester United fans will give Mourinho a standing ovation on his return to Old Trafford?
Probably yes, actually.
Do you think so?
Yeah, probably. I don't think there's any reason for it to be particularly negative. The fans that go to Old Trafford are a particularly loyal bunch. I think they've really got it stuck in them from Ferguson's last words, you've got to back the next manager. And they did, and they backed the next one and the next one, and now they're on the fourth, and soon they'll be on the fifth, and they'll still be back. And those who go regularly are bloody loyal up there. I think they're quite respectful as well. I think there's obviously frustrations with stuff with the board in terms of did he get the money, etc. So I don't think it would be animosity. I think they probably feel that they're better off without, but are not bothered enough to hate him, probably.
Yeah. Ben Miller, Benjamin J. Miller. How are you, Ben? Who would be the best player to go and have a beer with for? And we've got 3 options here. For having a nice, classy evening.
I brought the fucking tone down, isn't it?
Patrick Vieira, or one of the
Vieira, he spits at people. Or
no. They were all. I remember when they all came into Arsenal. They were all the civilized ones. When you'd have like the club evenings and stuff. Tony Adams and those guys would get shit faced. They'd quietly sip a nice glass of red wine or something.
Classy evening.
I'd go with one of those boys.
I've heard Ben Davies is quite intelligent.
Okay, fair play. Getting legless. I'm going to go with Ashley Barnes on that one because I feel like that guy's a nutter.
I've heard Ben Davies is quite intelligent. I think Delhi would be a good night out. He's got loads of girls, hasn't he?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And coming to the Planet FPL live show, who, if any player could turn up to Planet FPL live, who would it be? I'm going to take Micah Richards because he knows his FPL, so he'd add a bit of value to
be honest,
the show.
John Lundstrom.
Lundstrom himself.
The fucking crowd we'd get.
Yeah.
He'd be the main attraction, mate, of all the players. You can have any player down for your FPL, we'd get John Lundstrom. We'd get the biggest crowd.
Yeah. We'll just do a live show in Sheffield just for him.
He could do, mate.
Ben Miller picked Juan Mata for the sophisticated evening, Gaza for getting wasted, and Bojan for the FPL live show because he'd met him and he's a lovely guy.
Oh, all right. Okay, cool.
We've answered some of these. We're talking about armband on Jamie. Just leave it on him for the rest of the season in terms of Vardy. Go for it. Pulisic, time to get rotated or is he too instrumental? And that's an interesting question. Look, they bought him, loaned him away for the second half of last season, eased him back in, you would say. But every time he plays, he's returned. I think he's tipped into, not every time, but he has returned plenty. I think he has tipped into now he is one of the first names on the Chelsea team sheet.
Yes, I don't argue that. There will certainly be rotation over the Christmas fixtures. And interestingly, Chelsea play Southampton at home, either side of Tottenham away and Arsenal away. Now, the rotation game might be the Southampton game. And you need to start thinking about these sort of things. I'm sure that's right. I feel like I've got to fucking check it now.
I was checking myself, mate. 8 returns, 8 starts.
I can't believe from being so impressed with Chelsea, and obviously even in the defeat at Manchester City, that my last 2 transfers have been 2 Chelsea players out. It was just really odd the way it works out. But I did have a feeling in my mind, partly because of rotation, that I might have been coming off the Chelsea guys in any case running up to this Christmas period. I think it's a little tougher than it looks. I'm just going to check that fixture. No, it is, yeah. Southampton on Boxing Day, in between Tottenham away and Arsenal away, and then they go to Brighton away on New Year's Day. I think that Christmas period is that brilliant.
No, you still expect them to pick up quite a few points.
Don't get me wrong, you can get 12 points out of that. And they're a better side than all of the 4 teams that they're playing now. But it's a tricky period, and they do walk into, although it's 3 out of 4 home games, Arsenal at home, Leicester away, United at home, Tottenham at home, game weeks 24 to 27, may well end up deciding whether Chelsea finish top 4 or not. Because although I know they're better than Spurs, everyone there has already gone 12 points clear of them 10 days ago. They've already halved it in 2 games, and it's Mourinho. You know that's what they're thinking. Chelsea absolutely, with the squad and talent of players they have, should be finishing above Tottenham this season.
We've got a question coming in here from, I was about to read it, FPL Sergeant, Beer Fueled Man. Is Diogo Jimenez a good option now? I think that question...
Diogo Jimenez?
I think that question is...
Or Raul Jota?
Is accompanied by a beer emoji. So I think because you'd put I'm having a few beers,
okay.
they're kind of just checking how pissed you actually are.
No, not really. Jimenez, yeah, can't argue it. He's gonna fuck my season this year like he fucked it last year. You think I would have learnt my lesson?
I've done it. I've made the move nice and early. Also,
as well, on Jimenez, he's suspended. Not that he probably would have played in it anyway, but he's suspended for Wolves' last Europa League game.
Yeah.
So he certainly won't have anything to do with that.
No. And that, James, is that all of the other questions revolve around Nick Pope, Ali or Son, and Pulisic or Mount.
Okay. Cool.
And that is that. Do you want to wrap up and tell everybody what we have left this week?
Yes, I shall.
It's nice and early at the moment.
I don't mind finishing slightly earlier, an hour and a half today, because it won't be the last long podcast this week. Tottenham tomorrow. Some tactical stuff from me on Spurs fullbacks. Talk about Ali, Son. Talk about the problems with the goalkeeper, which is having a bad impact amongst the good results.
Yeah.
And we talk about West Ham's very surprising win at Chelsea that none of us saw coming. That's the first time, we didn't know it when we recorded, but we did have a check back. It's the first time Spurs and West Ham have both won on the same game week this season. Yeah. What a disaster. Wednesday, Sky will go in between the Tuesday and the Wednesday fixtures. It will be current and up to date when we record Wednesday. We'll get that out as soon as we can Wednesday for Sky players ahead of the 6 fixtures Wednesday night. Thursday, Planet FPL podcast, Series 3, episode 21, I believe, Suj.
Something along those lines.
About another hour or so, we'll look over the 8 game week fixtures that have gone, look at plans for game week. You get lost now with these midweek fixtures. Don't you? Game week 16
it'll be.
Is next weekend. Friday, final plan, we'll review the 2 Thursday night games, look at transfer plans for the weekend. I feel quite at ease that Wilfried Zaha is in my squad.
There we go. Do stay tuned. Are you allowed to talk about any other pods that you're to go?
Yes, as soon as we finish recording, I'm jumping on with Bully and the Iceman. I'll be on the FPL surgery this week as well. Tune into that. I'm a big fan of the guys. I'm not just saying that because I go on. I think they're brilliant.
Indeed. I'm doing FPL this week as well. So we're both cheating on each other.
For a pair of fucking gooners. When are you doing FPL FYI?
I have to check Thursday morning, first thing.
Right, well, we're doing Planet FPL Thursday morning.
Lunchtime.
So you better tell Rambo you better tell Rambo and James to go jump.
They're far nicer than you.
Sold your soul.
While we are rambling, it's the FA Cup draw. Liverpool have just drawn Everton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Merseyside derby.
I forgot. Who have we got?
You're not out yet.
Turn your laptop round, man.
You're not out yet. Wolves have pulled out Manchester
Wolves
United. That's the only other all Premier League tie. AFC I can't even read. Filed?
It's AFC filed, yeah.
Filed?
They were very close to getting to the Football League. Did they lose in the National League playoff final? It was either this year or the year before. They're a good National League side. They'll beat Sheffield United just for jokes.
Newcastle have got Boston, so yeah, it'll keep.
Another Premier League against non-league. That's nice.
Yeah,
and they're sort of their risky ones as well, because the Premier League sides will put out dodgy teams, mate. It's a shame they're not away games actually.
No.
And Newcastle at home in that.
Newcastle are away. It's either going to be Rochdale or Boston.
Stick the draw on BBC. That would be much better.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, we better wrap up this podcast. Guys, thanks for listening. Do hit like, subscribe, comment, share, all the other stuff that you're supposed to do on podcasts. And stay tuned for a lot of action this week with 2 game weeks in the next 7 days. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.